If I trained my eyes straight ahead to Thassos, I could fool myself into believing the ferry wasn't moving forward, propelling us to the island where we would remain for 3 weeks. I had thought of nothing but Thassos for months, but now, as we neared the mountains, I felt a bit as if I were being exiled to this place, not fleeing to it. I had a bad case of traveler's fatigue by the time we arrived at my apartment, and I was left suddenly alone. Instinctively, I took my phone from my bag to alert my family that I had arrived, that there were ants on my kitchen counter and I might suffocate from the heat, that I needed a nap, but Zoe's husband was coming by to fix my leaking shower soon. And then it sank in. There was no connection to home from where I stood. I began to pace back and forth through the apartment, from the front door facing the sea to the back doors thrown open to olive trees and cliffs and unnerving silence, but for a tractor in the distance and my cohort neighbors unpacking next door. I was caged on an untethered, untouched island. A week ago, I had been strapped to a desk, inside of a cubicle, inside of a repurposed warehouse with no windows in sight, but it was on Thassos that my bare feet slapped the ceramic tiles in their frenetic pace, marching to nowhere, because there was nowhere that I needed to be. When I say I had thought of nothing but Thassos, I had literally thought of nothing but Thassos. It had taken me 15 months to save the money for this trip. I hung a calendar of Greek landscapes in my cubicle and daydreamed about the island while I pored over mortgage documents 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. Now I was here, and I didn't know what to do with myself. Eventually I forced myself to pull a book from my carry-on, to sit on the couch and read like I would do anywhere. Within a few paragraphs, my shoulders lost their tension and my mind stilled. Soon I was joining my neighbors for a walk down the goat path to the first deserted beach. By the end of our first night on Thassos, I had come to terms with my sentence. I would coexist with the insects seeking refuge in my apartment. I would sleep with my doors flung open to the mountains. I would put my phone away and I would read and write because there was nothing else to do, and I would walk to the sea because there was nowhere else to go. I would dance with my new friends while Greeks threw napkins over our heads. I would sneak the stray cat sardines from the kitchen. I would test myself, rest myself, and untether myself. Perhaps I put too much pressure on Thassos. I expected it to change my life in a grand, sweeping manner, the type that inspires memoir and film adaptations starring Julia Roberts. Thassos had other plans for me. On the final morning, after I packed my bags, I found the $half-dollar-sized spider that had been tormenting me for weeks, trapped inside my kitchen sink. I draped a tea towel over the edge so he could climb his way out. I knew how it felt to be trapped. Soon I was back in my cubicle, but I left it 6 weeks later for graduate school. We all escape the kitchen sink eventually, I hope. I believe in working hard to get to your destination. I believe in having a few glasses of wine when you get there. I believe there's freedom in exile.